What is this I see? What's going on, members of Team Shout? It's Aries Fair Galaxy Cat, Mr. Galaxy, back again with another video, and welcome to a little bit of a compilation film. What the hell am I talking about? So, I'm gonna be honest with you. Technically, this is a filler video, but I want to do something a little bit special. You see, my opinions about Sonic Mania has changed over time, and the same thing applies to other video games I played over the years. So in between these re-uploaded segments, you're gonna have some updated thoughts from yours truly. And if you got a problem with it, you can suck a nut! Anyways, enjoy today's video, and I'll see you in between Sonic Mania and Sonic Mania Plus. You know, when you really think about it, it kinda sucks being a Sonic fan. I mean, think about it. A new game is announced, people get hyped up for it, they say it could be the best thing ever, Sonic's back, baby! Next thing you know, a game trailer releases, people are a little bit worried, then the game comes out, Sonic fans declare this to be the worst thing ever, they don't want to be a Sonic fan anymore, a new Sonic game is announced, and the cycle repeats over and over again. It happens every year, to the point where people are thinking, hey, maybe Sonic wasn't that good in the first place. That is, until August 15th, 2017, a miracle was born. Sonic Mania. Originally, it was a fan-developed game until Sega Stars were like, hey, how about we take this game, we put it to official sources, you get money. And so, headcanon, Podgold West Games, I'm so sorry if I butchered that, and Christian Whitehead all said, hell yeah. And thus, Sonic Mania was born. For those of you who don't know what Sonic Mania is a side-scrolling platform released in, well, like I mentioned literally not that long ago, August 15th, 2017, and it was praised with critical acclaim. Sonic was back in its 2D format, and it's not freaking Sonic 4. And for a while, it was a breath of fresh air, seeing both old levels remixed in a new style in Act 2, and brand new levels that were like, awesome. But is this game still as good as it was back in the day? Well, I'm Mr. Galaxy, and today, we're reviewing Sonic Mania to find out. Members of Team Shadow, newcomers listening to this video, and video game enthusiasts who wants to know if this game is worthy of the while or not, let's get started. The story of Sonic Mania goes as follows. Sonic and Tails are flying on a tornado back to Angel Island to visit the good old nuts when all of a sudden, Eggman's egg pawns dig out what seems to be an 8th Chaos Emerald? Before it starts making a mysterious noise, everything's in inverted color, changing their location from Angel Island to goddammit. However, the location is not the only thing that changed. The egg pawns have transformed into the hard-boiled heavies, that being Heavy Gunner, Heavy Shinobi, Heavy Magician, Heavy Rider, and the Heavy King. They all fly away to find Dr. Eggman, and before you know it, you're off. And aside from a few other cutscenes in between zones, that's pretty much it story-wise. This is, however, paying homage to the more classic style Sonic games where it's more of show, don't tell. And this thing shows a lot. Despite not having voice acting or dialogue or stuff like that, you understand the situation and you know what you gotta do. You gotta get that Phantom Ruby away from Dr. Eggman, while at the same time collecting the good old Chaos Emeralds. This story is a good time. And I'm saying that because it mainly takes a back seat. But you still know what's going on, so I'm freaking impressed. I'm giving this story a good old-fashioned B rank. If you're like me, then you grew up in the early age of YouTube, where sprite animation was glorious and everywhere. I love what people did back in the day, and I sort of miss that. There's not as many sprite animation channels as there are nowadays, but the people who made Sonic Mania, oh! Each and every frame of animation is just god dang beautiful. When it comes to Sonic running, the hard-boiled heavies attacks, Death Egg Robot walking around, Puyo in the freaking game, it. Oh my god. That's just wholesome. I don't care what anyone says. Tails swimming will be the best thing that has ever happened in history. Now I know what you're thinking. But Mr. Galaxy, this is cool and all, but it's not as cool as Fortnite. May I remind you, this was released in 2017. Say what you want about Fortnite, but god dang, these animations, put as many crossovers if you want, they got nothing on freaking Tails swimming. But style can only get you so far. You got to have a good looking game. And the game, well, it got it. If you don't believe me, just take a look at Green Hill, Metallic Madness, Starter Speedway, Mirage Saloon, and my personal favorite, Studiopolis. Each one of these are a visual marvel. I may be a gameplay over graphics kind of guy, but god dang, I could make a freaking movie out of this if I wanted to. May I remind you, this game was released in 2017. God dang, Eggman, we don't have it in the budget. Like, oh my gosh, that's too smooth, man. This is an instant S-rate. I would have given it a much more linking, but god dang, so much heart and passion has been put into this. More than Sonic Forces, that is. Okay, I've already sang my tune about how the story is and how the art style is. I might have overranked them a bit, but it's time to get serious. Gameplay is where the game is at. It's the bread and butter of video games. It's what makes video games, well, video game. In order to have a good video game, you must have fun. Is Sonic Mania fun? Yeah, goddamn right! The minute you press the right stick, oh, you can already tell this is gonna be a good game. Especially if you make Green Hill Zone actually fun. And if you're not a Sonic fan, then you're lucky. Let me tell you a little secret. We all hate Green Hill Zone! I can tell you firsthand that when I first played the game 5 years ago, and when I played it again 5 years later, I had so much goddamn fun. The gameplay goes as follows. You run and you jump. That's it! But you can also go fist with the speed dash. And depending on what characters you can have a different play style. For Sonic, I'm basically just explain the same thing, but he's basically the default character of the game. Tails is basically the same as Sonic, except he can fly. Knuckles is the same as Tails and Sonic combined, but he can glide and climb. And that's pretty much it that you get. There's definitely not 2 extra characters you gotta pay $5 for whenever we're not viewing the DLC yet. But each of them play smooth as butter and speedy quick. And the level design complements it. Each and every level is awesome. There was not a single bad level in this game. Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Studiopolis, Flying Battery, Press Garden, Starter Speedway, Hydro City, Mirage Saloon, Oil Ocean, Lava Reef, Metallic Madness are all good. They just make me want to find the newest slime girl and cuddle it. But Mr. Galaxy, there are only 12 levels in the game. 13 if you count the secret final boss zone. Yeah, let me tell you a secret. Titanic Monarch is bullshit-taki. This level made me crack. I hated it. It's the only level I would consider not fun. It sucks, it's hellish, it's unfair, it is not deserving of the Sonic Mania game. The minute I got to this stage, I wanted to die. Granted, I was searching for the Chaos Emerald, but still, even when I just decided, hey, I'll just do the Green Hill Zone thing over and over again when I beat the game, it was still hell to get through. Act 2 is slightly more forgiving, mainly because it's a big old maze, but a maze that's easily solvable. But still, the second time when I played through it to get the secret ending, I had fun. Not much fun, might I remind you, but that's when it clicked. Titanic Monarch is designed around Super Sonic. While every other level of the game is designed for you to have a nice good old-fashioned run through, Titanic Monarch requires you to have Super Sonic to even get through some stuff fast and simple. You don't believe me? This is me when I had no Chaos Emeralds. Screw this level, I hate it. It's the worst level in the game. This level sucks! And this is me when I had all the Chaos Emeralds. This stage is so much easier as Super Sonic. It is insulting to go from Titanic Monarch, which is a relatively fun level and clever way to use the background, to frickin' this. I felt like the original designers for the very first Sonic game came back to the studio and was like, let's make this level as bull crappiest as possible. I would give the gameplay an S or A rig, but because of the freaking that, I'm gonna give it a C rig. But hey, that's not all the gameplay can do. You have 2 extra options! If you go past a goalpost and you see some stardust, you can head to the special stage zone from Sonic 3. They're alright. I mean, they're fun and challenging, but there's not really anything rewarding you can get out of them. I watched Radical Soul's video to know what you will want if you got all the blue spheres, gold or silver, and you unlock more Blue Sphere! I mean, that's fine, I guess, for those who are nostalgic enough who want to go through that hell again, but do you really have a favorite stage of Blue Sphere? It makes me feel like it's not rewarding getting to the Blue Sphere. But Mr. Galaxy, if Blue Sphere doesn't give you anything, then how do you get the Chaos Emeralds? Well, my twin-tailed friend, have you ever heard of Sonic R? Well, guess what? Sonic Mania is a spiritual successor. Yep, you get to race for it. Sort of. So here's how the UFO stages work. You start as Mach 1, and you have to get that thing right there. It's holding the Chaos Emerald. What you need to do is collect the blue spheres to boost your speed. And once you collect enough, you reach Mach 2. Collect enough for there, you reach Mach 3. Collect enough in Mach 3, and you reach Mach 4. Just can't. You get an extra continue. Trust me, you need them for Titanic Monarch. You gotta get those continues in Titanic Monarch. But don't think if you just willy-nilly cheese it all the way through, you're on a freaking time limit. So, how do you get more time? You collect rings, but don't collect them so quickly because they don't respawn like the blue spheres. It's a nice risk-reward system. Do you risk prioritizing getting the blue spheres more but having less time? Or do you risk getting the rings but not having a chance to get them again when you really need them? Again, it's pretty fun. And if you're really good at this game, you can get them all without even collecting a single ring or blue sphere. I've seen it done before. Shout out to this guy right here. That being said, whoa! Pocket sand! A lot of them are pretty easy, but the 4th Chaos Emeralds can suck my twin tails. I had to use one of the tricks and I barely got it. But is Super Sonic worth it? Hell yeah, he's worth it. It's freaking Super Sonic. I did not understand the appeal at first because I thought it was just like, yeah, he's slightly faster, gets invincibility and everything, but as someone who's not a Sonic fan, this is a pretty good swelling reward. Now you might think we're done, but we got one more thing. Remember the Puyo Puyo joke earlier in the video? Well, guess what? Mean Bean Machine's in the game! Yeah, you fight Dr. Eggman as the boss of Chemical Planet Act 2, but in Mean Bean Machine form, or Puyo Puyo if you want to be real about it. It's fun, real fun. A nice change of pace from hitting the boss over and over again, or abusing the invincibility frames, but God, this guy is easy. Unless you're very bad at puzzle games, this guy is a breeze. Because of this, I'm giving the gameplay a B ring. It does a lot to change up the formula, but you'll mainly be jumping from platform to platform, and sometimes it does get old, but the speed you reach, and the extra stuff that they put into the game, mwah, goddamn beautiful. Next to a game, the most important thing you can have is content. Depending on how much content you have, will drive players to come back playing them over and over again, becoming a fan of the franchise, or just having a fun casual experience. And I gotta say, I'm slightly disappointed. Not counting the DLC, you get Mania mode, which is the main adventure, Time Attack, which is basically time trial attacks where you can play as different characters, try to get the best time if you want, competition, 4-player co-op, but no online. Come on, the fans have already done it. And extra, where you can see the Blue Sphere stage you can replay. And that sucks. There's not a lot to do here. If you had a bunch of friends over who love Sonic, yeah, you'll have a good time in the time attack mode, but aside from that, you serious? Content gets a D. There's not much here, but we get a pretty good experience out of it. Finally, we come to, perhaps, a nice little cherry on top when it comes to video games in general. The music, the bops, the things you vibe to when you do your homework. I gotta say, man, T-Loops, you're a god genius. The songs this dude makes in the game, oh my god, slaps so hard. If you don't believe me, just listen to some of the tracks like Danger on the Dance Floor. Angel Island Zone that you hear for a bit if you don't have the DLC. Flying Battery Act 2. The secret final boss theme. Mean Bean Machine. Studiopolis Act 1's theme.
Lights, camera, action.
And of course, the best track in the game, Metal Sonic. Oh my swells! If there's any soundtrack that you should give a full listen to when doing your chores, it's gotta be Sonic Mania. Not a single track sucks in this game. Well, there is one track that I consider to be the bad one. But then again, that's just my opinion. And even then, it's not even that bad of a song. Instant S-Ring. While this game lacks content, it more than makes up for it with its brilliant game design, amazing graphics, head-bopping music, and nice references every now and then. It's a love letter to the Sonic franchise, both old and new. And I definitely recommend you add this to your game collection. It is really good. The game is so good, someone like me, who's not even a Sonic fan, really liked this game. However, I don't see any replay value over it aside from the optional gameplay styles and the time attack trials if you want to become a speedrunner about it. Which is why I'm giving this game a B rank. If you see it in stores, maybe on a discount every now and then, you should definitely get it, and you would not be disappointed. This has been Mr. Galaxy. I've just reviewed Sonic Mania, and now I got another game to review. What will it be? Lord knows when. One thing for certain, when I beat a game, a review comes out soon. Will this help you decide to get and play the game, or you thought my review was so bad that it was laughably enjoyable? I hope y'all enjoyed your time here. Peace out, Mensa Team Shadow. Please never stay catty. Live life your own way. Stay safe during these trying times, and I'll see you all in another castle. Until next time, adieu, everybody. Looking back at this review video after all these years, what the f was I doing? Now, to be fair, I was younger, I didn't really have an editing style when it comes to my reviews, and this was the very first review I have ever done on my YouTube channel. I'm talking number 1, if we don't count my show reviews that I did back in the day. These best will look nice in my living space. But looking at this old grade that I did, I think I was way too generous about the fact that I beat Sonic Mania in one day. If I were to review it nowadays, I would give the story a B rank, keep the art style the same, although it's graphics nowadays, so hey, that doesn't matter now. The gameplay would also remain the same, the content, yeah, it will remain the same, and the music will remain the same. As for the new final ranking, editing galaxies can do that themselves. I have played Sonic Mania off-screen every now and then when it came to mods, but the more I did, the less I really wanted to play it. I think it's just gaming fatigue because it's the same levels over and over again with a new coat of paint, but I can imagine myself leaving it alone for a few years, coming back to it, and still having a good time. And then the sequel happened, and everything fell apart. When Sonic Mania came out, it was praised with critical acclaim. But when Sonic Forces came out, people hated on the game for right reasons. It was automated up the butt, and Sega needed to do something to bring the fans back to the franchise. So they decided to create a DLC, Sonic Mania Plus. A free update came out that changed the menu's loadout, but aside from that, the official DLC not only came out with relatively alright reviews, it also finally gave Sonic Mania the physical release it rightly deserves. But we're not here to talk about the physical release. We're here to talk about the DLC in general, and whether or not it's good or bad. Will it just improve the ranking of Sonic Mania Plus, or will it bring it down a peg? Only one way to find out. I'm Miss Galaxy Cat, and today we're reviewing Sonic Mania Plus. Normally when I review a game, I review it based on story, art style, gameplay, content, and music. But since this is added on to something that already existed, I had to modify it a bit. So, for today's video, I will review the story, the content, and the music that they add to the game. Without further ado, let's get started. The story of Sonic Mania Plus is, Sonic appears out of a portal, and does this take place after Sonic Forces? That can't be it, because that's when Mania Adventures happens. Does it take place at the final boss? Well, it can't be, because that's where Sonic came out of the portal to fight Chaos. This clearly takes place after Sonic Mania because the hardcore heavies are decommissioned and waiting for the heavy magician to revive him. Wait a second! I thought they got turned to statues! I gave those things to Mania! What the hell did he do with them? Yeah, whatever. Point is, you come out of a portal, and then you're exploring Angel Island Zone. All of a sudden, you see Mighty and Ray being captured by Eggman's capsule machines. After breaking out of the machine, you can either pick Mighty or Ray. It doesn't really matter what you pick since you'll get the other character literally 5 seconds later, but the opposite one turns into the Heavy Magician. As I mentioned before, the Heavy Magician revives the hardcore heavies and, well, back in Green Hill. And the cutscenes are the same. I can only conclude that this is the alternate dimension Sonic, while the Sonic Mania Sonic was sent to Sonic Mania Adventures. This story doesn't make any sense. They've already made this story once. Why are they giving us the same goddamn story again? Story gets an E-ring, because we've already seen this before! Okay. What does the DLC add? Pretty decent stuff, in quotations. First things, let's get the bad stuff out of the way. The new remixed levels. Each and every level are remixed to have not only a different power slot, but to be slightly more harder. Aside from Green Hill, I didn't really see what was harder. I mean, some of the bosses were difficult here. I actually had trouble with the Oil Ocean boss, but aside from that, they're not really that tough. Nothing's changed, aside from a few enemy placements here and there, and a few spikes. Speaking of which, let's talk about the new color palette, shall we? Green Hill's a nice old relaxing sunset. Not gonna lie, I kinda prefer the other Green Hill over this, but it's still pretty nice to see something else done with Green Hill aside from being used over and over and over and over again! Chemical Plant got a nice shade of blue. It looks really cool. Studiopolis got more golden purple, and I don't know. I really like golden purple, but these two color combinations do not look well in the pixel art style. Flying Battery got a darker shade of brown, but it doesn't really look that different from normal Flying Battery. Press Gun got a lovely shade of green, with a Nightfall sitting in Act 2. It's beautiful. Stardust Speedway Act 1 looks the same, but Act 2 is beautiful. It's full of color. Hydro City is Labyrinth Zone. I am not even joking. Maratsu got a nice good old-fashioned sunset desert feeling. It's also kind of relaxing, especially in Act 2. Oh my swells, now that is beautiful. Oil Ocean got the best kind of color swap though. Instead of an evil, cloggy brown, it's a nice clean blue. I can actually see what's going on in the act, like my swells. Did Lava Reef Zone really change that much? Did it? Did they forget to do this one? That can't be it, because they did Act 2, so why does Act 1 look the same? But what the hell happened to Metallic Madness though? What was once a really cool and powerful level, now turned into Shrek. And speaking of Shrek, Jesus Christ, Titanic Monarch! If you want to reflect how bad it is in the main story, you didn't have to reveal its true color. At least everyone can now see it. Playing in front of the Titanic Monarch is forever made of crap. These color palettes are acceptable. They're fine. A lot of them are hits, but most of them are pretty much a lot of misses. But aside from that, all that came from the Encore mode, and let's talk about that. After I talk about the two new characters. Yeah, Mighty and Ray, they finally come back from the dead and you could actually play as them. Not just in the Encore mode, but as a solo adventures too. Mighty can ground pound, kind of like a homing attack in modern Sonic games, and is immune on spikes for at least one jump. If you do it again, he's gonna get punched. But he freaking cheeses spiky base bosses like my swirls. Ray is a flying squirrel and kinda looks like Tails, except he's not really flying, he's gliding, a la cape mechanic from Mario World. It's actually quite satisfying. Although the only downside is none of the levels are built around for you to glide around a lot, so I don't really think Ray should have been included in this game. It was a nice little reference to the Sonic arcade game, but maybe they designed some of the levels so that we can fly around mode, I can use the glide mechanic more, but other than that, you're mainly going to be walking around as him. And now let's get into the Encore mode. I already talked about how it literally changes barely nothing, but one thing that made it harder to actually game over a lot more is the fact that there are no lives in the freaking game! Instead, the characters themselves are the lives, and every time you hit a block, you randomly switch a character, either from front to back, or whatever is in your party. But in total, you have 5 lives maximum, and if you lose them all, game over. Start the whole act over. But one thing I can definitely agree on, the stages to get the chaos emeralds are hard to get in this mode. You wanna know how many I got when I played this game? None. No emeralds. In the vanilla Mania mode, I at least got 4 before I did the Green Hill trick. This one, nah, I didn't get a single one. And quite frankly, I don't want to, because of one thing and one thing only. There was no secret final boss here. Oh sure, you could remix some of the bosses, give them different power slot, make them hit more, make them a lot more powerful and stuff like that, but you can't even get the freaking secret final boss in this mode? You get an ending, that's all you get, which is fine and funny, but seriously! Players who got the Chaos Emeralds were rewarded by fighting an extra boss, and a tease for an unfortunately bad game. But hey, on the bright side, at least it's explained how classic Eggman got back in time and found the Time Eater. I think. I don't know. I haven't played Generations yet. Content, it's a mixed bag. On one hand, you get 2 extra characters to play as, and you get an extra, more harder mode. But on the other hand, what it does add is just the same game again, with slightly harder levels. I'm mixed on this one, which is why I'm giving it, a C. No, that's too high. A B rank. Unfortunately, there's only one new track in the game. Pinball, baby! I didn't mention it before, but, you know what? I might as well mention it now. Pinball. It's fun. It's pinball. Only problem is, it doesn't change a lot. You can get them lots of characters and shields and rings. That's all I'm gonna say, because it doesn't really change the ranking of the content. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Music. Only one track in the game. The pinball theme. There might be more tracks in the game because I only played the main adventure, but as far as I know, that's the only new track added into the game. So, yeah, that's immediately E rank. Oh, wait, the song's not that bad. Look, okay, I'll give it a D rank, only because the song actually slaps hard. While this DLC does bring back some old characters from the past and somewhat new playstyles, it's not that great of a DLC. It repackages the same game again. The only difference being that there's a different color palette to each level and there's a few spikes here and there. But considering that the fact that this thing is $5, I'm not that upset by it. Although, I am still going to give this a D rank for how little of a content there is. If there was a secret final boss, I might bump the content up to an E rank, but aside from that, yeah. Unfortunately, this does devalue Sonic Mania by 1 grade. So, I'm giving Sonic Mania as a whole a C rank. But if you ask me, it's still not that bad of a game. If you want to play Sonic Mania all over again, but want to have a bit more of a challenge to it, then go ahead and buy the DLC. I mean, it's $5 after all. It's not that expensive. But other than that, I really don't recommend this DLC for you. But again, considering that the fact that it's really cheap, get it if you want to. I'm Miss Gonza Cat, and I've just reviewed the Mania Plus DLC. Whether you thought my review was informative enough, or just that bad it was laughingly enjoyable, I hope you all had a great time here. Peace out, members of Team Shadow. Please remember to stay catty. Live life your own way. Stay safe during these trying times, and I'll see you all in another castle. Until next time, adieu everybody. And remember, just because I said the DLC is bad, doesn't mean it doesn't have to devalue your enjoyment. If you enjoyed the DLC, or just seen Mighty and Ray back, then more power to ya. If you have any other opinions, let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious to see what other people have to say about this DLC. But aside from that, I got some games to play. Hopefully my next review will be Pokemon Legends Arceus. That or Sonic Forces. Wish me luck when I do that Let's Play, guys. Sonic Mania Plus was kind of interesting, because not only was it the very first DLC game I've ever reviewed, but it was also the very first DLC that affected a game's grading. Looking back at my review, I still agree with what I stand by. I would still give the story an E rank, I would still give the content a D rank, and I would still give the music... You know what, I would actually give the music a C rank, because the one that they actually have is pretty good. And I completely forgot about the race mode. But then again, so did everyone else. But maybe I'm looking at this in the wrong way, because nowadays, Sonic Mania has a physical version, which has the base game and the Mania Plus DLC. And even if you have Sonic Mania as a whole, the Mania Plus DLC is just $5, and you're getting your money's worth with $5, but still, it's not much content for me to say that I would update this game's grading. I gave you the big D all those years ago, and if I still were to review it nowadays, I would still give it the big D. And that's all I really gotta say for these two games. So overall, the grading stayed relatively the same, which means my opinion on these games have not changed a lot. Honestly, this is still a must-play for Sonic fans, and who cares what the internet says? Most of them come from Twitter, and you wouldn't believe a Twitter user, would you? But that's it for today's video. What do you think of my updated thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. And do you want to see more videos like this? Well, if I'm in the mood and I want to throw them in on a big old review collection, I'll throw them in, I'll let you know when it happens. But until then, bye everybody, I'll see you guys in the next video. One more thing I would like to mention! At the time of this recording, the review videos that were in my backlog has been recorded, edited, and uploaded, and they are scheduled to be released this November. But if you want, you can watch them early on my Patreon. Yeah, I'm shelling out, I kinda have to nowadays. For $5 a month, you get access to any review that I edit down early, as well as updates to said reviews, raw thumbnail art, because I'm drawing my thumbnails nowadays, a free art commission from yours truly. Please keep it safe for work, guys. I know I have a spicy account, but there's only so much spice I can consume. And if you don't want to support my Patreon, that's totally fine. Your likes and views are more than enough for me. And most importantly, the review videos are still coming out, so it's not like the Patreon exclusive. Now I must go. My planet needs me.